Hello folks, Ryan Roxie here from the Alice Cooper Band, and you are listening to Epic Footnote. And by the way, I stumped these guys. Rock on.
And yes, he did. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Matt.
And it's Zach.
And this is our other brand new interview series, Tell the Truth and a Lie, a game of two truths and one lie that sounds, well, too good to be true. If you missed our first interview with Ryan Roxie of the Alice Cooper Band, go back and listen to that. It was a really great interview, had a lot of good information, talked about meeting his musical idol. It was just a really great interview. And then, well, we turned it to things that we might not necessarily know about Mr. Ryan Roxie. Zach, why don't you tell him a little bit more?
Well, I mean, it's not surprising that someone like Ryan Roxie, who's such a seasoned and well-versed guitarist, has jammed with some of the most incredible music heroes out there. But I'm actually still a little shocked by some of the names that he threw at us as to where and when and how he jammed with them. In summary, he gave us 3 scenarios of icons that he's shared a stage with. And it's so funny because he's got a great poker face and a great, he hid the lie really well. At first glance, you're like, oh, that name, there's no way. And then you're like, no, given the scenario and given the circumstances, it's very possible that...
And given who he is, yeah, it could be possible.
Honestly, he could have told us, no, all 3 could have been true. And they're like, no, that makes sense. So it was a lot of fun. Without further ado and without revealing the surprise, give it a listen. See if you can also determine which one was the lie out of the 3 guest appearances he talked about. Let us know what you think also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Epic Footnote. We'd love to hear your feedback. And also who else you might want us to play a good old-fashioned game of 2 Truths and a Lie with next. Thanks so much for listening and enjoy.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Now, moving into our show, Tell the Truth and a Lie, we're going to ask you to share 2 truths and 1 lie. So 2 things that maybe fans, whether it's about your career, whether it's about you personally that maybe fans don't realize, and then 1 lie that you're going to try to make us fool us into believing it's real. And then Matt and I are going to ask you some questions. We're going to be putting our detective hats on to try to figure out the answer.
Okay. I've had a lot of highlights of being able to play with people.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was when I was able to actually play on stage with one of my biggest guitar heroes, which was Brian May. And we played at Wembley Arena.
Wow.
And which is kind of a cool place to play if you're going to be obviously from Queen and you're in his hometown. And we got to play a little bit of "We Will Rock You" and "School's Out," so that was a huge highlight.
That's awesome. Okay. Wow. Okay, so that's one.
And then there was another time, because I want to probably keep it with playing with people. Another one of my heroes. We were on vacation at the end of the year. Alice always does this sort of end of the year. Alice and his manager Shep do this sort of jam in Hawaii. So we're in Hawaii, and I'm at a party the night before the big show, and Linda Carter, actual Wonder Woman, comes up and says, "I want to play a song with you." And I said, "Are you sure?" I go, but we need a bass player, man. And it goes, I know that we have, me on guitar and, we got Mick Fleetwood on drums and stuff, but we need a bass player. And I look over, and sitting next to me is Steven Tyler. He goes, "Well, I play bass. I'll do it."
Huh.
So he comes up, and we actually jammed a Bob Seger song.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool. And then,
I have a lot of questions about that, but so the third.
And then the third time was just recently when Alice and myself, we were just before the whole world changed. It was pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. We had to, we were playing the last show of the Australia-New Zealand tour. And then all of a sudden, MC50 says they want to come up on stage. And that's with Rain Kramer. There's one of our opening bands, and they said, or one of the support bands. I hate saying opening bands because these guys are such legendaries.
Yeah.
And they themselves have Kim Thiel in it from Soundgarden. They have, Fugazi members. They have, so many big.
It's an all-star lineup itself.
All-star lineup. Yeah. So Alice goes, I'll get the great idea. If MC50 wants to come on, let's bring on Airborne, who was our other support act for it.
Huh.
So Airborne comes up on stage, and all of a sudden you've got Airborne, MC50, and Alice Cooper Band all on stage for the last show for the last sort of encore that we did. And subsequently, that was the last song that we've played in 2020 with the Alice Cooper Band. Wow. So it was kind of a fitting sort of tribute, but we didn't know what was going to happen a couple weeks later. But the cool thing is all that went down. I wish someone had it on tape though.
Here's the thing. So now we have to figure out which one's the lie. And I believe all of them in some weird way.
I mean, he definitely presented them as very convincing.
I have a million questions about jamming with Wonder Woman.
Linda Carter.
I mean, if that isn't the most incredible, wild story. So was she supposed to be there? Was she scheduled to be at this event?
Linda Carter, you have to understand that Linda Carter is there every year with her family. And she's super cool. She's given me and my wife the most amazing sort of life advice before. This is like a who's who. At that party, I'm not joking you, there's Linda Carter's there. Pat Riley's there, famous NBA coach of the LA Lakers and Miami Heat and stuff. And Oprah. When friggin' Oprah's there. At the same party, Oprah and Larry David. I'm not joking. So,
that is so wild.
So it was just fitting that she would come up and sing a song. So I thought that was pretty.
You said it was a Bob Seger song.
Yes, it was.
Which is Bob Seger song?
What's that one he's got? Just take those old records off the shelf.
Yeah. All right,
I
could see Wonder Woman singing. I could see Wonder Woman singing that.
Okay.
I'm also just mind blown by Steven Tyler just screaming, "I can play bass."
Yeah.
Was he good at playing bass?
I like him better as playing singer. He's a better front man. I mean, come on, there's Tom Hamilton. What are you going to do with that?
Because I know that he actually started off as a drummer before he picked up the microphone, right? Or am I making that up?
I don't know.
Steven Tyler, this is before even Aerosmith was a thing. I don't know why I thought I heard that. All right, so first off, I mean, just the fact that you got to jam with Mick Fleetwood too is pretty. Because I remember, I mean, that event that Alice puts on. I mean, not only is it a great cause, but it brings a lot of people together.
Yeah, so, Shep does it for the Maui Food Bank. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so all those names check out in a weird way. Any other questions, Matt, about Linda before I start pestering him about the other facts?
No, I'm more curious about the Brian May in Wembley.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Go for it, Matt, because I'm.
So that one, you sounded, in comparison to everything else you've told us, that one sounded kind of vague. So can you kind of delve a little bit deeper as to,
well, I mean,
what the show was, what the deal was?
Yeah, it's just so happened that Brian had played with Eric before in Brian's solo band. So Eric,
this is Eric Singer.
Eric Singer, the drummer of Kiss, I was playing with in the Alice Cooper Band at the time. But, Eric Singer, just like all of us sort of in the trenches, we've played in a lot of bands. Eric has played in more than most, but he's been he's been associated with Gary Moore. He's been played with a lot of talented bands, So over the years, and he was friends with Brian, and he called him up and he just said, "Hey, you want to come down and jam?" And Brian brought the guitar. He brought, of course, him and his tech brought the guitar and one Vox amp. And I got to tell you, that one Vox amp that he had was louder than my entire rig. And I had 4 cabinets going on at that time. So it just goes to show you that it's not so much the amount of amps. It's just the punch that you get out of certain, and the tone. The tone that comes not just from the guitar because it's homemade and stuff, but the tone that comes from that amazing hand and head and heart of Brian May.
You said it was at Wembley Stadium with Alice?
No, not stadium, arena, Wembley Arena. Yeah, a lot of people, when people say they play, because I've played Wembley plenty of times, I've never played Wembley Stadium. So every time I see a Foo Fighter, Wembley, he's playing Wembley. I'm like, yeah, it's not like the Foo Fighter video. No.
No, that's good to clarify. Okay. So that makes it also, okay. Now was Alice headlining or was he opening for someone?
We were headlining. Yeah, we've headlined Wembley quite a few times over the years now, because Alice one of his biggest followings is in the UK.
No, that makes sense.
They're very, very dedicated, and they're like, they call them the Sick Things. So the UK Sick Things are always supporting Alice, and they've subsequently supported a lot of the stuff that I've done over the years. So very thankful for them.
No, that's awesome. And you said you played "We Will Rock You" and "School's Out" with him.
Yes, yes, I did.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
The MC50, which makes so much sense because Alice has always been so vocal about how the MC5 were such an influence on him early on. So I imagine Wayne Kramer was there.
Yes.
And you said Kim from Soundgarden was there too?
Kim plays guitar in Wayne's band. Yes.
Because I know that lineup went through a few different changes. Was Matt Cameron?
No, it wasn't Matt Cameron. It was the drummer of, I want to say, the band Fugazi.
Okay.
Bassist from Faith No More. Yeah. And the drummer from Fugazi, and of course Wayne Kramer.
Which is just mind-boggling.
And the singer from Zen Gorilla.
Yes. And now, what song did they jam with you guys on? Was it "School's Out" or was it? An MC?
It's a "School's Out" because it's that's the staple. It's the last song that Alice usually slots into the set, so it's our sort of finale.
It's always fun to actually. Matt and we got to see on tour with Hailstorm, and it was we were just saying how much fun it was to see literally everyone backstage.
Yeah, that was
just on.
That was just a real good time.
Yeah, it was a good hang. That was a fun tour, man. Nice.
And actually, not to make this turn us into sad, but I'm pretty sure wasn't Jimmy Webb on stage?
Yep, Jimmy came
during
that. That was Jimmy is one of our good friends, and he just recently passed away. We filmed a tribute for him. We did one of those isolation videos that pretty much, and I'm glad we did it a couple weeks ago in that sense. Well, unfortunately, Jimmy died a couple weeks ago, but we had done this video kind of before it became like sort of everybody doing it. But I'm glad we were able to commemorate Jimmy in that way, because we knew we did it so quickly. It just came like boom, like we got the news about Jimmy, and then I go, you know what? He loved Iggy. We already played an Iggy song in the Goon Squad set. Let's just do it. And then our good friend, the Rat, doesn't sound like a good friend, but he is. He's named the Rat. He edited the video real quickly, and it's on YouTube. It's cool. It's on my YouTube channel.
It's a beautiful tribute. I feel like every time I've seen Alice Cooper in the past 5 years, Jimmy had been at the show as well. So it was a really beautiful tribute to him.
He would be the first one that gave you a big sweaty hug. I think he'd have the most problems with his social distancing, because he would always give you a big hug and a kiss when he'd see you.
Sorry to get sidetracked. I remember how awesome it was to not only see the bands on stage doing "School's Out," but also just obviously friends who just hopped on. So
I think you're just trying to buy more time about which was my two truths and a lie, huh?
That's absolutely, you called me.
Or three lies.
Yeah. Or three
truths.
You could be lying about everything. Now you're just, what are you
going to go with?
This is tough. Okay. Matt, I'll let you go first, because I'm still buying time.
Yeah. My gut feeling is Brian May. I don't know why. Everything else has so much detail. I just feel like there's something that's not there with Brian May.
My initial reaction is to say Brian May too. However, I feel like two things. One, I feel like we would have heard about the MC50 jam. And this is me being a real nerd, that either it's going to show that I'm a real nerd and follow the news, or that I'm not as smart as I think I am.
I'm going to go with the latter.
Yeah, it's probably the latter. It's going to be completely honest here. But I'm pretty sure, because you mentioned that this was the last time the band played together before the world went crazy, I was pretty sure that it was the Australia wildfire benefit, unless if this happened afterwards. Because this was in New Zealand, you said? The MC50 jam?
Church Christ, New Zealand.
Okay. I'm actually going to go, I think he's lying about jamming with MC50.
Okay.
So...
your answer's in. Your final. There's no lifeline calls. There's nothing
no
else?
lifeline calls.
Can't call Nita Strauss
Locked
for a
in.
lifeline. All right.
If you have her phone number, that'd be great, though.
Yeah. That'd be like, who? Ryan, why are you giving out our phone number? This is weird.
So,
Final answer.
you ready?
I'm locking in.
Okay, you're locking it in. You're both locked
Locking
in.
it in. Yep.
Which is the lie?
I am happy to tell you that one of you is wrong.
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And the other one is also wrong.
Ooh.
Bam. I can't believe I got you guys on both of those. You were so warm. You were very warm when you started questioning me about the Maui thing. And I thought you knew about the whole thing about Steven Tyler playing drums, because that's exactly what he did. He played drums with me on that song. And he said, I play drums, I'll do it. And then, so you have to imagine that I had, and everything else I told you about that story was authentic. There, Oprah was there. But the thing was, Steven Tyler played drums and Mick Fleetwood played percussion. So I had, you have to imagine, like on one side of me, I had Steven Tyler yelling at me to slow down. And I'm like, or I was yelling at him to speed up and he was yelling at me to slow down. So I got to actually yell at Steven Tyler for a second, which was a thrill.
You must have made Joe Perry really happy then. To be yelling.
Well, trust me, he does his share of yelling, I'm sure, and everybody else. But it was nice to be in that position, because when you're in drums, you are naturally sitting down, unless you're on a drum riser. And this was in the backyard. So he was on the ground sitting. So I had that little dominance over him, a little tiny bit.
Wow.
And then, Linda Carter did sing the Bob Seger song. Who else played? It was
because we were so focused on Linda Carter.
Yes.
I love that.
Do you like the way I did that?
Yeah,
I
love that. I love how that, as everything else in that statement is so crazy. The lie was that it was Steven Tyler.
It was Steven Tyler playing bass. Is Steven Tyler playing bass? He does not play bass. He plays guitar. So everyone that knows that, or everyone he knows, he plays drums. So everyone, you were good when you were saying, I think he plays. I want to hear. I heard that he played drums first. Of course, he's one of those guys that plays drums probably better than most drummers. And there's a lot of those guys out there. Wow. Lead singers.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So
I feel like I won. I got Ryan to confirm that I was right about something at least. So there.
But that other thing. Okay, so I'll go back, and so everything else is true about the Wembley Arena thing with Brian May. That was a dream come true, and like there's nothing like a UK crowd at Wembley when those drums comes doom 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 doom, and the whole audience has got their Live Aid hands up doing the same sort of thing. And fast forward, you are correct. We did get to open up for Queen just recently in Australia. That was Sydney.
Okay, yeah.
But that was like maybe a week before we wrapped it up in Christchurch. And I sounded a little bit unsure with Christchurch, but guess what?
You're a good actor. You're a good actor.
Well,
that's why.
Try to be. And the thing is, I have that whole entire jam on film. It's called the Roxie Cam. It's on my official YouTube website. If you just go to Ryan Roxie Official on the website, and you can see, it's called the Roxie Cam Episode 1, and you can see from my perspective, because I have a GoPro or some sort of action cam hooked onto my guitar neck, and you can see my perspective of what I see during that whole jam. And it's got Airborne in it. It's got the MC50 guys, and plus everyone from Alice Cooper. So thank you for playing along. I'm glad. What do I win? I got to win something.
you get the honor of stumping two music nerds who are going to feel sore about this.
It was a little bit of a, what do you call it? A flick of the wrist, sort of because I slid the lie in there.
You did.
Hidden by truths, but there was, I thought you had caught me when you had said that Steven Tyler plays drums, because you knew that he played drums. I go, I want to say that I heard he played drums. So
no, because you did you did a good job going, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. But then who played bass?
Was it Chuck? Chuck Garrick might have been playing bass on that one. I think it might have been Chuck. And who else played on? Who's the guitarist in? God, sounds so stupid of me to say. Who's the guitarist of Doobie Brothers? But I'm trying to think of which one. The Doobie Brothers guitar players. Pat Simmons. Sorry.
I love that. Literally, the thing that wasn't true was Steven Tyler's role, because I know how crazy those events are. Everything's like, oh yeah, of course Wonder Woman was hanging out and jamming with Bob Seger. It's that event. Yeah.
Well, here's the other cool thing is that it's the same week that goes down where there's just the first PGA Tour, right? So all these Dustin Johnson, all these number one golfers in the world are all in Maui at that time. They're all sitting in the pool room just playing pool the whole entire time. And they're like all studs, right? They're all good looking dudes. But and you'd think that they'd be flocked with all these women around them. No. Who's the one guy getting flocked and mobbed by women? Owen Wilson.
Of course.
Because he's an actor, right?
Oh wow.
Owen Wilson and Woody Harrelson are just sitting there, and I think they might. I don't know. I don't want to say for sure, but they might have been smoking a little Maui Wowie. I'm not sure, but yeah, they were getting mobbed, and but they're so chill. It's chill sort of atmosphere when we go out there. It's been a couple years since I've been able to go out there because the last couple of years I've been going to South Africa with my wife visiting there for New Year's and stuff.
Yeah,
but there you go.
Fair. I mean,
that's the story.
I also feel like I could just imagine like everyone at the hotel going, "Oh my God, there's Owen Wilson, there's Woody Harrelson, there's Steven Tyler," but Alice is going, "Look, there's the golfers over there. I love those. Like
the golfers, exactly.
he's the groupie flocking to the golfers."